Oh, seriously. You can stop asking me where Manor is now. It's been 4 months, I get it, since my last update on the game, and a lot has actually happened and a lot has changed. You see, since Steam Next Fest and when people actually got to play this game, I think the hype for it has somewhat died down as news has slowed a little. But it's been plodding along and plenty of info has come out, so I thought it was just about time for me to give you guys a look behind the curtain once again to see where we're heading to see what has changed in the combat, the city building, and the wider development of Manor. Because what's actually happened? Where's it gone? Guys, it's time to find out. As a very quick rundown, Manor is supposed to be the next level of medieval city builders and RTS games, combining something that people have always wanted. The real-time strategy battles of a Total War game with the city builder levels of a City Skylines or a Banished, but within this beautiful medieval world. So detailed to the point that nobody can quite believe at the small team behind it. At Steam Next Fest in October, we managed to get a good amount of gameplay, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. I fell in love with Manor. From the road building mechanics to seeing the animations of people popping up houses and of course farming, the changing in seasons and the beautiful mud and snow as it dynamically falls. It immerses you with this medieval world and seeing all the villagers and people going about their day-to-day businesses and reacting in conjunction with everything that's happening within the environment, whether it's animals attacking or whether it's running out of food or traders coming in from different settlements. We didn't get a look at the combat, which is something that I really missed, and hopefully we can get something like that very, very soon. We've had a few hints and updates in the last few months, which we'll be getting onto, but something I also have a massive hankering for is some sort of diplomacy. We know there's going to be kings and other lords that you can communicate with, trade resources between, and there was a bit of that within the demo, but I really love to see more behind the scenes of the diplomacy. It seems as though Manor is going to be advancing the combat even further than anything that's been shown so far. I mean, we didn't actually get to play any of the real fighting in the demo and Steam Next Fest, yet there's still been constant updates about it. It looks like we're going to be getting some sort of disengage or tactical retreat, a little bit like we've seen in Total War Pharaoh, where your troops can be set to slowly pull back or make their way out of combat, but in a way that isn't just going to get them slaughtered by being hit from behind. Along with this, a look at some of the concept art for townspeople configurations. So this is going to be the new militia that is going to sort of give you an idea of how your troops or your units are going to be facing in battle, what equipment, what skills, or what armor they have depending on their wealth. We have level 1 helmet, shield polearm, shield sidearm, so on and so forth, going up all the way to level 4, incrementally getting better with things like potential hand cannons, it seems, and of course sword, shields, spears, crossbows, that kind of thing. But it's going to completely depend on the wealth of your peasants or the wealth of your people within your town to how effective they are and what equipment they use within battle. And I think this is a very, very interesting way of doing it. Not necessarily recruiting the top level troops from the get-go, but having to work up, and as your towns evolve, then you'll be stronger within battle. A quick look at mid to late game towns. Our level 3 residential area is looking at the current stages, showing us that beautiful Manor city look that we've come to expect at this point in time. We do know that we're going to be getting a Manor early access of some form. It isn't going to be the full game, and this seems like this is going to be a title that's going to be updated over time, not necessarily getting everything right from the get-go. There's been some concept art and screenshots of features later on down the line, such as hand cannoneers, so on and so forth, and more systems for troops as well. But early access seems like it's going to be the most obvious way that Manor is going to get into our hands in the near future. Judging by some of the more recent screenshots as well, it seems like we're getting a bit more of an improved AI. It seems way more refined from the Steam Next Fest version. And if you look in the bottom left, we have an event icon here. Prepare for raid. So it seems like raiding has been added into the game. This was something we always knew was coming and had been spoken of. We saw a GIF a long time ago of fire burning houses to the ground that we'd been told had been raided by nearby villages or other settlements, but it looks like that's going to be an event that comes in. Maybe a little bit like RimWorld, but it's nice to see that at least the early stages have been implemented. That's not the only event that's been added in though. Droughts are now in. Extreme weather is going to be a substantial part of the game, adapting and changing dynamically. this is going to completely affect whether you can grow more farms that day. We can also see in the wider shot that some places are on fire. Is that going to be from raiding? Well, potentially, but also maybe just heat. Forest fires could later come into it, but I'm assuming things like drought are more going to affect crops and, of course, livestock being able to feed and keep people going without the same amount of water. What other extreme weather effects? I don't really know so far, since it has to be constant with the environment that the game is being set in, but hey, that is a definite change, and a dynamic event coming into the world like that could be a big impact on the way people play. A massive change is rebuilding the animation from scratch. Now, I already think that Manor Lords and playing Steam Next Fest in the demo showed that they are going too far and beyond. Well, when I say too far and beyond, I mean well past anything reasonable for this kind of title. A city builder doesn't need this kind of detail, but they were doing it anyway. Yet it seemed like it wasn't enough. Much more fidelity and more natural animations have been added in, meaning that we're going to be getting even more things like tiny facial expressions from characters, whether they're scared, angry, or ready to fight. So this is going to be way more like the Total War battles, but, well, by a much smaller team. Being able to see the individuals and the way they're reacting to people in front of them and the events currently going on within the world is a detail that is so unnecessary, but so cool. We're finally looking at the new development tree. This is, of course, just a piece of art, but showing us farming, trade, industry, and forestry, giving players the option to develop and upgrade down certain routes. This was not open and not available during Steam Next Fest, but it was, well, the screen was there. We saw there was some sort of skill/development tree available, just it couldn't be interacted with. So giving players the ability to change and morph their settlements and their gameplay style with which directions they really want to head in, or going for an all-rounder to keep everybody happy and to not necessarily just be a trader village or a warring village, but just be a little bit of everything. And I get it. Everybody is excited, and I get messages all the time. But now that Slavic Magic has got more people on board with the game and additionally has Hooded Horse, a larger publishing house behind them, there seems like there's a much bigger budget now. It seems to be developing incredibly fast, and hey, hopefully we might even get some more game playable versions in the near future, or at least a little bit of more gameplay released. Slavic Magic, if you're watching this, which, you know, you might be, any hints? Any more gameplay coming? Any cool new features? Who knows? But if I get them, don't worry, lads. I'll be sure to show you straight away.